Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Story of Sam and welcome back to a brand new NBA video today here on the channel. And right now I'm going to go over my official 2021 NBA bracket, picking every single series, every single winner, all the way up until the NBA championship. If you guys are brand new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. And of course guys, make sure to drop a like on today's video. That helps me out a ton in the YouTube algorithm. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So I do want to say that I am recording this before the Warriors and the Grizzlies play their final play-in game, but either way, it's not going to have a major impact on any of my picks, so it's not going to really matter that much. Let's start off here in the Western Conference. So we have the Utah Jazz versus the winner of the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Now, again, whoever wins this game, I don't really care. They're going to lose to the Jazz in my opinion in 5 games, just like that. The Jazz have been a great team all season, and even though Donovan Mitchell has gotten injured, I feel like they are resting him a little bit more than needed, just because the Jazz have been winning games even without Donovan Mitchell, so they don't need to rush him back or anything. The Jazz are in a great spot right now, the #1 seed in the West, and I think they will easily handle either the Warriors or the Grizzlies in a 5-game series. Moving on to the next series, we have the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Mavericks are a 5 seed. It's a 4-5 matchup. Usually 4-5 matchups are pretty close, but Dallas was a half a game back from being in the play-in tournament, so I'm going to go Clippers in 5 as well, just because I think the Clippers are a really good team this year. They are the best 3-point shooting team in the league, and even though Dallas is the 5 seed, as I said, I don't think they can really compete right now with the Clippers. Again, the Mavericks and the Clippers played in the first round last year. It went to 6 games, but I know they have Porzingis and everything, but I still think the Clippers, again, are going to be a lot more focused this season, and I think it will end up being a 5-game series with the Clippers coming out on top. So moving on to the next series in the Western Conference, we have the Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, this one's going to be a pretty interesting series, but just because the Blazers don't really play any defense in my opinion, I'm pretty sure the Blazers are 29th in defensive rating this year, so again, they're just an abysmal defensive team. Even without Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. again, in my last video, I really think MPJ will step up in the playoffs. Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, I think all those guys will be enough to defeat the Blazers in 6 games right here. Again, Portland, they're always going to be like a mediocre playoff team. They had that one nice run in 2019, but still, Portland is definitely not a contender at all, so I would say Denver in 6. And now for the Lakers versus the Phoenix Suns. Of course, the Lakers beat the Warriors. That's why they are the 7 seed, but I really do like both teams. I really thought the Suns could have gone a long way. They just ended up playing the Lakers in the first round. The Suns do have home court advantage. I think that will matter a little bit. Again, if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are fully healthy, I think the Lakers will take this one. I think it'll be a light 6 games right here. That's why I'm going to go with the LA Lakers in 6 games right there. So I think it will be a pretty easy series for the Lakers, but again, I could definitely see the Phoenix Suns winning this series in like 6 or 7 games as well. So either way, I have the Lakers in 6. This is definitely one of the more interesting series though, just because the Phoenix Suns have been so good in the regular season. But again, I think the Lakers will take them out in the first round. Moving on to the Utah Jazz versus the LA Clippers. Again, I really like the Jazz, but I still like the Clippers over the Jazz when they are at full strength, even though the Jazz are the 1 seed. I think it's going to be a very competitive series, one of the best in the entire playoffs. I'm going to go with Clippers in 7 games. It's going to be close, but I still think the Clippers in a game 7, again, best shooting team in the NBA. They will get it done over the Utah Jazz, advancing to the conference finals. And now in the bottom half of the Western Conference bracket, we have Lakers versus Denver. If the Lakers can make it past Phoenix, I think they will have a pretty easy time getting past Denver. Again, no Jamal Murray. I feel like the Lakers match up pretty well. They can throw Anthony Davis at Nikola Jokic, and they are the best defensive team in the NBA. And without Jamal Murray, I just don't think the Nuggets stand a chance to actually go to the conference finals again. So I'm going to go with Lakers in 5 in this one. We are finally going to get the Battle of LA in my opinion this year. I think that's going to happen. So I'm going to go with Lakers in 5 over the Denver Nuggets. So now we have the Lakers versus the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. And I really do think the Lakers could win this series. But again, they haven't really played that many games together. I don't know if LeBron's going to be fully healthy like at this time with his ankle. Anthony Davis has been pretty shaky all season, and I just feel more confident right now with the Clippers. I'm going to go with the Clippers in 6 games. They will advance to the finals in my opinion right there. That is my Western Conference right here. The Clippers make it out of the West. But let's move on to the Eastern Conference. So we're going to have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the winner of the play-in tournament, one of the winners of the play-in tournament, the Washington Wizards. Now, the Wizards play at a very high pace. They have Westbrook, Bradley Beal. Again, Russ plays with great energy, but I would still pick the Sixers in 5. This could definitely be a sweep, but I'm going to respect Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook and just say they're going to win one game. It could definitely be a sweep, but I'm guessing gentleman sweep or sweep nonetheless. And now for the New York Knicks versus the Atlanta Hawks. I talked about this in my previous video, but I do think the Knicks will win the series. They're a more physical team, a better defensive team. And again, Trae Young's first year in the playoffs. I don't really trust Trae Young yet in a playoff series. I know the New York Knicks are very young as well, not much experience, but I trust Coach Tom Thibodeau to get it done. I'm going to go Knicks in 6 right here. It could go 7. It could go 5, but I definitely think the Knicks will end up winning this series. I'm not saying the Atlanta Hawks have no chance, but again, the Knicks are the 4 seed. They have home court advantage again. Just the Knicks having home playoff games, I'm sure their fans are going to be going crazy, so I'm taking the Knicks in 6. And now for probably the most interesting first round playoff series in the entire playoffs for me, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Miami Heat. These two teams matched up last year, of course, in the second round. The Miami Heat won in 5 games. It's such a tough series, man. It's one of the most challenging ones to pick in the entire playoffs, especially for a first round series. But I'm just going to trust Giannis. Hopefully, I'm going to trust Giannis. And I'm going to take Milwaukee in 6 games. Again, this could definitely be a Miami Heat in like 5 or 6 if it's like a repeat of last year. But I really think Budenholzer, he's coaching more for the playoffs now. He didn't go as hard in the regular season. They added Drew Holiday, another amazing perimeter defender. And I just feel like the trio of Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, and Giannis will eventually beat Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. If they had Victor Oladipo, it's a different story. But again, Victor Oladipo got injured. What else is new? But I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks in 6 games. And now for the Brooklyn Nets versus the Boston Celtics. If the Celtics had Jaylen Brown, again, completely different story. But again, there's no Jaylen Brown. I'm going to go with the Nets in 4 games right here. I mean, this could go 5 or maybe even 6 games at the max, but I definitely see Brooklyn winning this series. And I don't think it's going to be that close. I mean, I predict 4 games. It could go 5, but I definitely think the Nets will have their way in that series and it won't be too difficult. So now let's go back up to the New York Knicks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Again, the Knicks are a good team. I just don't think they have enough firepower to take out the Sixers. Again, I'm going to go with Sixers in 5 games. No disrespect to the Knicks. It's been a great season for them, but there's no way they make an Eastern Conference Finals appearance. There's just no way it actually ends up happening. So I'm going to go with Sixers in 5. Joel Embiid's having an amazing season. Ben Simmons, great defensively. Tobias Harris having one of his best seasons of his career. And now for another very, very anticipated series, we have the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Brooklyn Nets. Now the Bucks match up really, really well, and I feel like Giannis could dominate the series, but I still gotta go with the Brooklyn Nets because they have a lot more talent, and I just feel like Chris Middleton could definitely underperform. Same with Drew Holiday, but for the big 3 on the Nets, you have Kyrie, James Harden, and of course, Kevin Durant. I just feel like the Brooklyn Nets have a lot more talent, and I feel like they will end up winning this series, but it will go 7 games. It's going to be a very close series in my opinion. The Nets have nobody to stop Giannis, so I think it will be a very, very close series, but I think the Nets will end up winning in 7 games. And now for the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets. Again, another very close series. Joel Embiid's going to have a field day in that series. No one can stop him on the Nets. But again, the Nets offense is on another level. And again, I talked about this before. The defense isn't good, but if they just lock in like the late 4th quarter, I feel like they can get stops. They don't need to be like the best defense in the NBA. Literally just an average defense, and this team is going to be good. So again, I'm going to take Brooklyn in 7 games. The Philadelphia 76ers could definitely win that series. I would not be shocked at all if they won the series, but it's going to be a tight one for sure. And I do have Brooklyn in 7 games. But moving on to my NBA Finals, I have the LA Clippers versus the Brooklyn Nets in the finals. Now, I think the Clippers had a great season. They could definitely win it all. But again, the Nets firepower, the Nets offense. People forget about Joe Harris. They have those 3 stars, plus Joe Harris, one of the best 3-point shooters in the entire NBA. They have some of the best spacing I've ever seen. So I'm just going to have to go with the Brooklyn Nets in 6 games there to win the NBA Finals. And again, my finals MVP pick is James Harden. I talked about that in my previous video, but again, that is why I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets. They have 4 amazing 3-point shooters that they can go out there with in the 4th quarter. James Harden, KD, Kyrie, and Joe Harris. And they could even bring in like a small ball 5, like Jeff Green, play him at the center position. They could have some amazing spacing down the stretch. So I do think the Nets will win the NBA championship over the LA Clippers in 6 games. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video on my official 2021 NBA playoff predictions. Make sure to comment down below what you guys think of my picks, and I definitely do want to say that these are my predictions before the playoffs start. Once the playoffs start, my predictions could change drastically when I see some of these teams play. If Donovan Mitchell's killing it and he's very, very healthy, the Utah Jazz could definitely come out of the West. If the Lakers aren't looking too good, LeBron's not looking too good, the ankle's still bothering him, I could definitely see the Phoenix Suns beating the LA Lakers. But as of right now, before the playoffs start, these are my official predictions. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers. And of course, guys, make sure to drop a like on today's video. That helps out the channel a lot. It gets the videos into recommendations and just helps the channel grow as a whole. So definitely make sure to drop a like. And if you guys do want to watch more of my NBA or NBA 2K videos, I'm going to leave an end screen right when this video finishes to 2 of my previous uploads that I think you guys would really, really enjoy. So have a great rest of your day, guys. It's been Story of Sam, and I'm out. Peace.